I welcome you all to the webinar session on Java EE with Hibernate. So today as an agenda, we are going to discuss on why Hibernate is very much important for persistence, and also we are going to look into why Java EE is so much incomplete adaptability with Hibernate, and also we look at the complete futures which is ongoing today, the NoSQL, and also we'll be looking at how to do a Lucene search, because search and the NoSQL are the most important things in the market today. So understanding the search mechanism and understanding the NoSQL is going to make a bigger impact in the market today, because the future is always towards the NoSQL and the search. So we'll also looking back how Hibernate is going to provide full-fledged support for the search as well as for the NoSQL. Thanks for everybody. So with this, my name is Sagar and I'm an enterprise architect, and I'm in the industry for almost more than a decade now. And I'm primarily into the SQL and NoSQL now, which has been taking the market by a storm. As I said, NoSQL is very important, and also search engine. That's something we're losing. And most of my career is towards the data domain, so understanding the data. And I'm typically full-fledged Java developer, an absolute Java developer down the line. And I myself started as a data architect, so this is my role. And I am currently working for major telecommunication systems, so where we totally involved into a migration of an SQL to a NoSQL kind of thing. And also I also work across multiple domains like ETL tools and etc., where Hibernate plays a major impact. Fine. Thanks all, and thank you for joining this webinar. And this webinar will give you a clear picture of what Hibernate is all about in the market today. Okay. So, as you are aware, this is the first thing Edureka is going to introduce Hibernate. And about Edureka, you must be always aware of we are the global leaders in the training domain, and particularly for this particular course, they are targeting, because as I said, the NoSQL domain is very critical to the market today, and also the search mechanism is very important. So that's the objective of the course from Edureka. And also about Edureka, to give an idea of what Edureka does, they not only provide online training, so apart from that, they provide lots of services. So like online support, you'll always get a 24/7 support and a lifetime access. So whenever you register with Edureka, you are guaranteed that you are going to get a lifetime access, and all your questions will be answered up to date. Okay, fine. Yes, Pooja. Yeah, there is cloud also. Yeah, yes, Pooja. So yeah, thanks, Pooja. Nice to see that, Narendra. So as I said, I welcome you all, and for next 1 hour, we'll go through what Hibernate and why it is so important, and the objectives of these are the objectives we are going to go through, what Java Enterprise is all about, and why Hibernate, why particularly Hibernate is for Java Enterprise, then what happens with the Lucene search mechanism, and also NoSQL, and finally we'll also look into the job trends of Hibernate, right? What are the job trends one can get with Hibernate? Okay, just to provide Spring. Yes, Sumit, Spring is the major backbone in the course. The most of the Hibernate goes with Spring. We have a separate section on interaction of Spring with Hibernate. That's what the point. It's all about a Java EE with Hibernate. Fine, Sumit? Yeah. So at any point of time, anybody is having any questions, please go ahead and paste your questions in the questions window, and I'll be answering promptly to all the questions. Okay. So with this, everybody, can we jump into the webinar today? Can I get a quick yes from everybody? Is it based on Hadoop? To an extent, yes, Kunal. So that's the idea of bringing up NoSQL, because we have to, the showcase is not, people is having a common thing thinking like Hibernate is only for SQL. It's not like that. Hibernate is now, that's why the use case I have taken NoSQL very clearly here to show an impact of what you can do with Mongo now. Okay. Yeah, I will explain a lot, Pooja. So that's what it's very interesting, right? NoSQL is something which plays a bigger part in Hadoop's domain, like in HBase, etc. So NoSQL is very, very critical to emphasize the career to another extent. Okay, so that's the point. NoSQL is Hadoop's and all the ecosystems are using NoSQL today. Okay, so let's jump into the webinar today. So Java Enterprise Edition, right? So a very important terminology. So when we talk about something called as a Java Enterprise Edition, the point of Java Enterprise Edition is all about providing solutions at the enterprise level. Okay, that is what Java Enterprise Edition is all about. Providing solutions. When you say enterprise, okay, whenever I talk about something called enterprise is a terminology which always comes across when we have to do some distribution programming. Whenever we have to do some distribution level of programming. So for example, let's consider I have a server, and that particular server is keep running for 24 hours of time. Okay, and at some point of time, the server will be requiring some problem might can happen with the server, or the server itself requires some maintenance. So this is a day-to-day activity. So at that point of time, what's going to happen to the server? Who can replace that server, right? So who can take the impact of that server? So who will be in a position to replace that particular server? So at that point of time, what happens? We need communication between two servers. If one server goes down, another server should step up and they should take care of the activities which is already running by that particular server. So here where sharing comes. Sharing between the two servers. If one server goes down, other server should be in the position to take that corresponding amount of work, the corresponding amount of customers that particular server is handling. So this is called distribution. So this is going to go with all the servers, right? So we are going to provide a chain of connection to all the servers. So when you provide a chain of connection to all the servers, then we probably end up something called as distribution of data across all the servers. So this distribution of data is something called enterprise. This is an enterprise issue. So how we are going to distribute the data parallelly? That's where Java EE comes up in the picture. So Java EE is basically nothing called Enterprise Edition. So it's going to provide a collection of APIs and a particular runtime execution environment for running the enterprise apps. When you say enterprise apps, like the distributed data apps, like your JMS, the Java Message Service, which is taking care of all the message between the enterprise distributed data, and containers like the EJB containers, which is going to take care of handling all the bean related things. Whenever you want to deploy something, the service will be readily available to the customer. So all the distributed related things, the JMS, the email, the SMS, all these things can be specifically handled by Java Enterprise Edition to a greater extent. So telling that, it provides services like persistence, messaging, web, transactions. These are some of the main services, I can say core services, and also a lot of other services also provided. Apart from this, there are a lot of other services also provided. And when you talk on the word persistence, that's where Hibernate is going to come up in the picture. Hibernate is going to sit as a backbone for Java to support the Enterprise Edition. Okay, so basically I can put forward in this way. There's nothing special like a Java EE as a tool or as a software. What it says is all about this, how to use the same level of Java to use at the enterprise level. As simple as that. I'm going to use the same level of the Java programming, but how effectively I'm going to use the programming at an enterprise level perspective. Okay, that's where your Enterprise Edition comes up in the picture. So this is all about the definition enterprise carries with its tag. Okay, so Harsh, what I was trying to say is that we can put in a very simple statement like, so Java EE is not a tool or it's not a software, it's not those kind of things. So Java EE is going to provide you libraries which is again can be executed using the basic Java at the enterprise level, at the distributed programming level. Fine, Ash? Is it fine? Is answering the question? Yeah. So people always make mistake by understanding enterprise edition means again we have a separate software, etc. It's not like that. Again, the same level, it's going to define a spec. That spec will tell you how to use the Java at the enterprise level. So you have to follow this particular spec. Okay, and provide particularly the REST services. The REST services, REST when you say the web services. How can I expose my service, whatever has been developed to the outside world? Those are the things. Okay, so that's why Java Enterprise is a very, very critical thing to understand. And the persistence part of the Java Enterprise, Hibernate takes it to a very, very greater extent. Okay, REST and SOAP are basically web services trainer where you written some services. So for example, I have written some services like let's consider I have written a services which is going to handle the credit card transactions, and that has to be used by some other organization, not by me, some other organizations. So at that point of time, when I'm giving that service to other person, I can't expose it directly. There should be some level of security, there should be some level of definition has to happen. In this service, what are the things you can access? In this service, what are the things you can't access? Okay, so those are called web services. When two parties are trying to communicate to each other and at the same time they are not aware of each other also. It's the first time they are going to contact. And he is not aware of what you are doing and you are not aware of what he is doing. In those kind of scenarios only, the web services comes up in the picture. And they can be implemented by both REST as well as SOAP. Whereas REST is typically handles all the HTTP related things. Whereas a SOAP is typically handled for your XML kind of deployment, etc. All those kind of things. Fine, Tina? So Akinav is asking what prior knowledge is required to understand this session. Akinav, so nothing much. You should be knowing some level of Java. Okay, means when you join this course, again we'll be providing some level of links and some level of tutorials to understand what Java is all about. We'll also provide some level of knowledge. Before starting the course, we'll provide you some links. So Edureka is something not you are going to join the course without any knowledge, right? Edureka will make sure that whenever you join the course, you will have the corresponding set of classes and etc. you can go through even before joining it. Okay? Yes, Pooja, you are correct, Pooja. Yeah. Fine. It will provide every single thing. So fine, Akina. So even though if you say I am new to Java, Edureka will make sure that you are going through some levels of classes in Java also in order to cover it. Fine, Akina. This is answering your question, Akina. What is Hadoop? Yes, Chinal. I think we can discuss what is Hadoop maybe at the end of this module. Okay. At the end of this module, I will give an introduction of what is Hadoop. Fine, Chinal. Yeah. So when we come back and look into what basically Hibernate is all about, right? What Hibernate is going to, why we need Hibernate? So Hibernate is basically nothing called as an object relational mapping. Okay, when I say object relational mapping, so what an Hibernate is trying to achieve is, so for example, I will take a notepad. So everybody, can you able to see the notepad? Can I get a quick confirmation, please? Yeah. So what Hibernate is trying to say is that, so a typical development, if you have a database, if you have a database table, if you have a table in the database, and if you have some columns, so let's take an employee table. And that employee table is going to have some level of characteristics or attributes, something like ID or name or some other level of details, all the other details. So what the typical problem across the world we have is, before Hibernate came up in the picture, this table can be at different meaning at different databases. When I say different meaning, this can be in MySQL, can be a different definition. Let's say this is a MySQL database. And in the case of Oracle database, this can be at a different definition. Okay, and maybe at a Microsoft SQL Server, this can be a different Microsoft SQL Server, and this can be a different definition. So a same table employee is represented differently in each and every database, because that's how the database has been built. So most of the scenarios, what happens, I as an organization, when I'm working on Oracle database and I feel the cost is going sky high because Oracle is not an open source. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm planning to migrate myself to MySQL database. And I have did some level of coding in the Oracle database, right? I am working with the tables in the Oracle database. I'm trying to migrate to MySQL database. And now what happens? The definition is changing. If the definition changes, everything is going to change. Whatever the code has been written for Oracle now has to be completely migrated to the code which is going to support MySQL. So if it is something like 3 years of development, so one can understand how much level of code has been written, right? You can just think, right? 3 years of time, I'm keep on working with Oracle and I keep on writing some level of code. Now my organization decides, okay, the cost is now extending to another level. So they shift to some other database. So they are coming to speak to another database called MySQL. Okay. So now what's going to happen? I have to rewrite the code which to support MySQL. So now to solve this problem, what we are trying to do is that, what Hibernate was trying to say is that you as a code don't speak to database directly. Whatever the code you write, I am going to come in between, call as an Hibernate, and I am going to take responsibility of using the same written code to speak with Oracle as well as MySQL. How it does? Because of a simple concept called as, it is going to migrate the code into him. So what Hibernate is trying to say, you give me employee as a code. I will make sure of transferring that code into the corresponding tables. So this is called as ORM, Object Relational Mapping. So this is where Hibernate came up in the picture, right? So whatever the code here, okay. So the Hibernate is somewhat like a middleware. Yes, you can define like that, but it does more than that. When you say more than that, it takes care of all the database operations, like the CRUD operations, like the transactions, and etc. All the other things also it takes care. So you as a developer, now you have to concentrate only on code. Okay, yeah, it's like a JVM formation. Yes, Harsh. Like a JVM formation, it's like a JVM for databases. For comparison, it's yes, but as I said, it does more than that. Finally, it does more than that, because as a database, a lot of other things is there, like commit is there, rollback is there, everything is going to take care, right? So it not require any query language. Kunal, so to answer that, a very good question, Kunal. So what Hibernate is trying to say is that Hibernate is having this whole thing called as HQL, or criteria. Okay. So what they are going to say is that you can just say, for example, I can say from my employee table, okay, dot get name. So when you type something like this, Hibernate takes responsibility of transferring this to a query. Hibernate itself takes responsibility of transferring this into an SQL query. So it's having a very powerful support for query languages. Fine, Kunal, correct? It's having very powerful support for query languages. So what Hibernate is trying to say, you just fetch the data based on the objects, and I will make sure of transferring this particular whatever has been fetched from the class. Yeah, Hibernate query language. You can say Hibernate query language, like SQL. Hibernate is saying something called as Hibernate query language. Okay. Okay. Tina, the question was, so Kunal was asking a question. What about the SQL? Can Hibernate can support the SQL? Is Hibernate is having any query language? So I was trying to explain. Yes, Hibernate is having a query language called as HQL, and Hibernate query language. So which is going to take care of migrating whatever for example, what Hibernate is trying to say, you just say from your object what you want, and I will take responsibility of transferring this into an SQL query and fetch the data and give back the data. Okay, fine, Tina? Got it? Yeah. Can I get recorded session of this? Yes, Ankit, you can get. You can always call the Hadoop admin support of Edureka. You can always call them. You can go to Edureka website. You can find their support number. You can just ask them. They will give you back this recorded session. Yes, Ankit, it will be provided. Fine, Ankit. Yeah. Okay, so now we looked at what is Java EE and what is Hibernate. So now let's go and look at further what are the other things Hibernate is going to provide for us. Okay. So as I discussed, when you say Java EE with Hibernate, the major rule what Hibernate is going to do is that for all the database, irrespective of whatever the database, the same level of code will be executed against each and every database. That's what Hibernate is going to do, irrespective of it's an Oracle or a MySQL or a Adobe or a Microsoft SQL, whatever, or a NoSQL database like MongoDB. Even that also Hibernate can go ahead and execute it. That's how much Hibernate is very powerful. And if you see in today's market, it's very difficult to see an enterprise application without Hibernate. Particularly after your NoSQL came up in the picture. I'll come to Tina. I'll explain what is Mongo. We have an example of showing what is Mongo. Fine, Tina? I have an example. I have a use case. I'll go over it. Yeah. Okay, so let's come to something interesting called as loosing. What loosing is all about? What loosing is all about. So anybody has heard about loosing before? Anybody here? Anybody came across loosing before? Okay. So whatever the search mechanisms you are doing so far, okay? Yeah, because I think the search mechanisms, right? Whatever the operation with the, okay, fine. Whatever the search mechanisms. So for example, when you're going to Google and you are searching something, correct? You're going to Google and you are searching some important keywords, or you want to search. So the search mechanisms, right? Lucene is a very powerful library for doing the search, but it is targeted towards a text library search, full text library search. Today, a lot of machine language developments like Mahout, etc., all those things uses Lucene very effectively. It's an index system. It's going to index the data, whatever has been provided. It's going to index the data and is going to, so when you provide them totally data of different standards, so you're going to give a paragraph. Let's consider you gave a paragraph, or you gave a paragraph some level of things, and the best way to always providing a search is indexing. Right? If you index something, if you say at point 1 this is going to come, at point 2 this is going to come, then only you can search it effectively. Otherwise you can't search effectively, right? You understand, right? So any amount of data given by the user, it may be from a file or it may be from the string. So Lucene is going to make it indexed. So once it provides an index, so it's going to provide you the search in a very faster action compared to the other things. So for example, if I have a paragraph and in the paragraph I want to find a particular word, okay? So if I have to, so for example, if I give you a paragraph, let's consider I have a very big paragraph, and in that paragraph I want to find how many times this word has repeated. Okay, a very real-time use case, correct? This is what most of the use case ends up. We always have to find in a given document or a given text how many times the data are repeated or how many times the particular text has been repeated. We have to find. So what is the best way of doing it? The best way of doing is indexing the words in the paragraph. That's what Lucene is going to do very effectively. So when you index something, it's going to make your life very easier to search. So that's where Lucene comes up. It's a full-fledged text search engine. So what it's going to do is that whatever the amount of words you have, It may be words can be big or small or etc. Even a big file also. Lucene is going to index it in such a way, and also it's going to provide very, very powerful query mechanisms so that you can query it effectively. Okay, that's what Lucene is all about. And Lucene is the most real-time used search engine today, like Mahout, etc. and all use Lucene to a very, very, very great extent. Okay, so Lucene is very, very critical. So particularly the very latest version of Hibernate 4.0 have targeted towards this. So Hibernate search has targeted Lucene to a very, very, very great extent. Okay, all the real-time analytics I have been using Lucene again. Okay, so that's the how Lucene keep enumeration dynamic. So that's the power of the framework, Harsh. It's having a very strong indexing mechanism. You can rerun the indexing whenever you want. Got it, Harsh? It's not like always you have to go. So if I have given a paragraph, after some level of time, you can again go back and run the indexing again. You can run the indexing again and again and again, and so that the search will be very, very much effective. Okay, fine, Harsh, got it. So it's not a problem. You can go back and run anytime. You can schedule it anytime. So that makes the enumeration very, very easy for it. Got it, Harsh? It automatically indexes all the words, or developer has an option to index words. Yes, Santosh. Developer is also having an option to index words. You can provide a file and you can index the data in that file. Okay, I'll show you an example, Santosh, on that. Is it possible to create index with every word? Yes, Kunal, it can do it. It will do it. That's the powerful mechanism of the Lucene. Okay. If I modify the paragraph, yes, okay, you have to rerun. That's all. Got it, Ash. Got it, Kunal? What I'm trying to say? It can do. It will do. It's a very powerful mechanism built only for that. Is it answering your question, Kunal? So question and answer, Santosh? You can index by yourself. Yeah. So basically what it does, the mechanism is pretty simple. Okay. Is it possible SQLDB or no SQLDB also? Yes, Narendra, we are going to see that. So now interestingly what's going to happen is that Lucene is now doing on the file system. Hibernate is going to use Lucene to work with the databases. This is what the brilliance Hibernate is going to do. The same level of thing, whatever happens, Hibernate is going to do with database level itself. That's why the search engine is going to be very, very effective. Maybe SQL or no SQL both. That's why Hibernate now become a very, very bigger impact in the market. Particularly the next slides when I speak on NoSQL, which is going to be very, very interesting. The Lucene and the NoSQL makes Hibernate very effective because of Lucene is something which is coming with analytics. So now you can use analytics on your database data because Lucene is there. Right? So this makes things very interesting, correct? Okay. So the main backbone of Lucene is a powerful indexing. You can write yourself with a separate index writer. You can say these are the fields I want, and I want to index only these fields. You can even say that. Okay. And a search. As I said, it is having a very, very, very powerful searching mechanism queries. You can frame your queries to a very, very, very greater extent. Okay. Fine. I will show you an example, Tinal. I'm going to open an example now. I will show you what are the index writers, etc. Fine, Tinal. I'll show you an example so you can see that. Fine, Tinal? Yeah. I'll just show up an example. I'm just going through the slides. We'll come up with an example and do the same. Okay. So the index searcher, but the name index searcher itself a built-in class. Fine, they are built-in classes. They are general built-in classes called as index searcher and index. You can have any number of classes, subclasses in them. These are the parent classes. Okay. So Lucene is basically what it is trying to do is that any amount of text provided by the user will be taken and indexed, and search will be provided with a very, very powerful query mechanisms on top of them. So this is what Lucene is telling, and believe me or not, today Lucene is the most widely used in data analytics. Okay. Now let's take a use case of search. I'm going to have a file system, or I'm going to have a basic paragraph of words. I'm going to do two level of examples. So first level of example is searching. Second level of example is only to do indexing. I want to do only to do one indexing and what I have to do. So let's go back. Always practicals are good, right? Practicals are always a good thing to see. Okay, everybody able to see the Eclipse? Can I get a quick yes? Please? Yeah. So let's see first how the indexing is going to happen in Lucene. Okay. So this is an indexing, a very basic Java code. So if you see here, Lucene is asking me, provide the data what you have to work with. So I'm telling this is the data path. And it's telling, tell me where I have to create the indexes. So let me give a new location, index underscore new, because already I have done this example, right? So now what it does, it creates a file system directory, reads all the files available under this data, okay, uses an index writer. Index writer is the direct built-in class. Fine, can you see it here, right? Fine, and writing it. So when it's creating the index, what happens? It is trying to get a document by document. Whatever the line is available from the file, it gets one line at a document, and it writes three things to the file. What is the content? What is the name? What is the path? Where I got the content? From which file I have got the content? And what is the file path? So now let's take the data first. Where the data is there, let's take the data. So EDURECA data. Okay. So sorry, I had to go here. EDURECA data. I have some 3 level of files. So edit with Notepad++. Something is there. EDURECA is so let's open all the 3 files. It says EDURECA is a leading global online training provider. Leading online makes life easier for learner. Fine, good one. Another file. So same thing. I have repeated the same things. Nothing else I have done. Let's take another file. So these are the 3 files. So let's go and run this application. Let's see how effectively it creates indexing. Then we'll go for searching. So I'm running this as a Java application. See, it created index. It says total files index 3. Just even before I finish clicking run as Java application, it says I have indexed your complete files. So it has gone through all the words. It indexed very effectively. So let's go back and look how can be that much faster indexing. So index underscore new is the folder we have given for indexing. So it created its own way of indexing files. Now this indexing, so it's now going to search based on the efficiently created index files. You can see the amount, the speed it has created the indexing. 3 files. In order to do even a file open and close will take some time, but it has created it, right? So now if you go back, let's do a basic, searching kind of thing on top of that. Okay, as I said, searching. So this is a standard. I am using a very basic standard analyzer. So this is what the point I am trying to say. It's having a very powerful query algorithms. So you can pass the query. You can say which is the word you have to search. Okay, if you want to see what is the query you have to search, etc. Now when you run this application, okay. Now interestingly, this is going to come very fast. You know why? Because it came from the index. I even can't do this with Control F, correct? I given 3 files, it indexed. I'm asking, tell me where under EDURECA comes. Listen, you gave me 3 files. This is what EDURECA is coming. I have made 3 hits, and this is what I got the output. This is quite amazing, correct? If I open the file, even a Control F, I don't know this much fast. This is why I told Lucene is extremely powerful. Okay, so now what Hibernate can do here? We saw the use case of search. We understood, right? So I have created 3 files, I have created 3 files. I have given those 3 files. It created index, and search is just like this. Everything happened in a matter of seconds. So you can understand how much powerful using search is. That's why data analytics using is great. Now the use case we are continuing. How Hibernate is going to provide. So we have to do with tables now, right? This is not with understand, Lucene is very powerful to the file system. So is Hibernate is going to give a solution? So let's see what Hibernate is going to do. So what Hibernate is telling, I am going to use the same Lucene concept, but this time the index is going to be created for the tables in the database. Quite interesting, right? Hibernate is now coming back and telling, I am going to create index for the tables in the database. Whatever you're doing with the file system, I am going to do the same level with my tables. So this is where the interesting thing, Hibernate. That's why I told the recent release of Hibernate was extremely powerful because of handling with the powerful using technology on the already available data. This is something quite interesting, right? So this is something new to the complete world. Can we do with DB combinations? Okay. So let's do the demo application now. We're going to a very small table. Okay. Let's take an Hibernate Lucene. Okay. We always have to do from the scratch, right? Then only it will be interesting. Otherwise, it won't be interesting, right? So I'm having a basic Hibernate util, which is basically connecting to the tables in the database, creating the session. It's making it ready for query, etc. All those kind of things. So there is a data handler. So I'm going to drop everything and I'm going to do everything from the scratch. So I have my MySQL created. So it says show databases in MySQL. Okay, fine. So I'm going to drop the database search. Okay, the database search has been dropped. So show databases, nothing is done. So let's create an empty database search. Create an empty database search. There's nothing is done. So first thing what Hibernate is going to do, as I discussed, Hibernate is an ORM board. So what Hibernate is going to do, there is a file called branch in my corresponding thing. There is a normal Java class called branch. That branch is having fields like branch ID, branch name, and branch status. These are the fields available. Basic Java fields. And I'm telling index those fields because this is not used now. This is used when using concept in the picture. And I'm just telling there's a file called Hibernate config.xml. I'm just telling which is a database you have to connect to. Just telling this is a database you have to connect to. And this is the username and password. So when I go to this data handler, the first thing what I'm going to do is that I'm just calling a method called as populate branch. Nothing else I'm doing. The populate branch is just creating a basic Java object. It's not doing any SQL operation anywhere. It just says a branch equal to new of branch, giving some values to the branch. Okay. And meanwhile, I'm going to do the index of all the fields, like how my file system happened. So when I say do index, whatever happened with the file system, the same thing is going to happen with the database. So let's run this. Let's see what's going to happen first. Run as Java application. Okay. So let's go back and see what happened. So it's a very first database. Okay. So let's use the database. Let's use search. Sorry, spelling mistake. Typo. So let's say show tables. Table is created. So quite interesting, right? Table is created with indexes built in. So this is quite interesting. This is something I not told anything. I just created an object. I told to create index. This guy says everything is ready. So when you say select star from branch, it says branch is having 4 fields: test1, test2, test2, and test4. Now I'm going to do a search. This is very new, correct? Everybody worked with database. Everybody knows database. But I have created index. Internally, I have created index. So I am going to do a search. Let's see using search here. I'm not going to query. Okay, I'm going to do a search. This is quite interesting, right? So let's, I don't want to populate. The index has been created. Yes, fine. I'm not worried about it. Okay. So now what I'm going to search the branch. So search branch is trying to tell me something. This is search. This is not querying. This is searching within the database table. So I'm telling, get me all the branches which is matching the name test2. A absolute search which happened on the file system. I'm going to do this. Okay. So let's run this. Let's see what are the results this guy is going to provide. So he is telling, see, there are totally 2 branches are exiting with branch name test2. And this will be extremely faster than a normal select statement because this is no searching, this is not querying. Correct? So this is what you can do. Even you can also go for a projection kind of concept. When you say projection, the point I am trying to say is that while searching, you can also say what are the fields you want. So here, while searching, I am trying to say, I want only the fields branch ID and the branch name. I don't want any other fields also. So when you do this, what happens? Instead of getting the complete result, you can also go one step ahead. Let's go and execute the search based on projection. Sorry about that. When you execute this, so now he is going to go one step ahead. See, he's bringing only the fields you want. So this is no more SQL query, right? There is no select statement here. This is really amazing, right? When I see it, I really amazed. I really amazed with this feature. I thought this is what we should bring in Hibernate courses, not like bringing an SQL, etc. What Hibernate is trying to do the world, that is important. You have to cover this. So this is quite interesting. We are doing an indexing on the database table with the help of Lucy, and we are searching, right? This is amazing actually. So you see, there is no SQL query. It's a search happened on the index created. Okay, fine. So how we felt, everybody? How we felt the Lucy with Hibernate? Is it something interesting? Because so far we have seen only select, drop things, etc. But you all feel this is very interesting? What happened with Lucy with Hibernate? Whatever we've seen. Can I get an answer from everybody? Yeah. So this is going to be, so that's what I'm telling you. This is very, very, even I find it very nice. Okay. So now let's see the next level of Hibernate. Okay. So we really don't want to bring a course by telling select query. This is not actually what Hibernate is trying to do. That has to come up in the market. Hibernate is spending a lot of time. They also understanding SQL is important. Anyway, day-to-day activity will not go with SQL. But let's bring SQL itself as a search engine, right? So that's what making Hibernate special is. So there's no point in giving an explanation in the course by telling Hibernate means this, Hibernate means database, table, joins. Yes, understood. The course will cover that. But what should be the features of the course? What the course should actually do? What as per the current trend, what is important? Okay, so same thing. So when you come back to next level of use case, very interesting, called NoSQL. I'm going to spend some time on this NoSQL, right? Okay. This course looks very difficult. Yes, Kunal, this is the first time you're watching, right? So because it's an introduction session, I not went line by line of the code. But in the course, we will explain you each and every single line, right? So that makes life easier. We'll be going through each and every single line, explaining what that line does. No? Fine, Kunal. And this is the first time you're watching some new level of things, no? That also a factor, Kunal. Fine, Kunal, got it? Yeah. NoSQL, a very, very important terminology in the market today. Why this NoSQL came up in the picture? So, this NoSQL really came up in the picture because of one simple thing. So, variable schema. I want this variable schema. What is this variable schema is all about? Right. So, I'm an employee table. Okay, just believe me or not, NoSQL is big data. It is very, very important step towards the big data environment in the world. So when I have something called as an employee table, and I'm going to have some fields like the name and salary, etc., all those kind of things. Fine. And I'm going to have something like age. So now what happens? This is having some 1 lakh records, or let's consider this is having some 10,000 records. So suddenly, all of a sudden, I'm feeling my employee table should have one more column here. I need one more column called bonus. Now this cannot happen just like that. I have to think about whether whatever is going to affect the data already present. The data, if I'm having some data, what is happening to go with the data? And if this particular column is going to only for this table, or this particular column is going to go for a relation with some other table, there are a lot of questions. To change the schema in the production, there are a lot of questions. So why I have to always restrict myself actually? So is it that much difficult to modify the data at the table level? If I have 10,000 records, so I have to worry about? Yes, you have to worry because the table has been tightly coupled. So what is the solution for this? So they thought a lot, then they realized you are so much tightly coupled here. Let's break down something like this. Let's say I have only two columns called employee ID and something called employee info. I have two fields, right? So let's have employee ID 1. Okay. And I am going to have something like this. Name, Sam and salary. Okay. Employee ID 2. His name is again some other, maybe Joseph, something like this. His salary is something like 20, and he's going to have something called bonus. So now what happens? Each and every row can have its own level of the columns, whatever it can. So this is giving a full fetch of freedom to any row to decide what type of data we can have. But here that's not the case. Whatever the rows can have only 3 columns. But here you are totally open to find whichever column you want at that particular row level itself. So NoSQL, that's why it has been born. To make yourself much more flexible, the schema variation, one should never worry about the schema changes anymore. Any point of time, any point of row, you decide whatever the data you want. So now they are stepping back, they are telling, instead of normalizing the data, you can go to have data at any level. This is why NoSQL came up in the picture, variable schema. So by doing this, what happened? We can now store data to any level, to any format, with no restrictions. Any point of time, you can come back and tell me anything you want. Okay, that's why NoSQL born in the market. So while handling bigger data, they need this. If you have some 50,000 or 1 TB of data, you should not come back and control me by telling this 1 TB of data can have only this many number of columns. That's not the way. I will decide whatever I want. Each and every data can vary by themselves, and they can go to any extent, and it's up to them to decide what they want. And don't put the restrictions on them. That is what NoSQL is all about. Variable schema. Okay. Everybody understanding what a NoSQL is all about? Can I get a quick yes from everybody? So So to have this NoSQL, there are a lot of different ways. So for example, one person will store the data in the form of document. One person will store the data in the way of graph. One person will store the data in the way of, so they have different ways of storing the data. Okay, document means whatever I shown is a document based show. And one type of database will store in graph. One type of database will store in columns. Okay, so there are different ways of how you are going to store with the data. Either you want to store as what I showed. What I showed is the most frequently used, the most frequently and the most easily understood. Correct? That's what I showed. And graph is again depends on the scenarios. You can use whichever NoSQL database you want. Okay, so no, the data will be in the format of graph, Sumit. It's not like graph. You should not go in that perspective. How a graph will look like. How a graph will look like. There will be connectivity in the graph, right? So the data will be in the form of connectivity. Some connectivity will be keep on going. One data will be connected to other. Other data will be connected to other. In that connectivity, they will store the data. Got it, Sumit? Yeah. The connectivity in the data, how they are going to store. The most widely used is this. Whatever we have discussed. This is the most widely used. This is where MongoDB comes up in the picture. So MongoDB is a document-based NoSQL database. Okay. So now it's going to be very interesting. We saw what is NoSQL. Okay, understandable. So NoSQL SQL. So that's what I have explained so far. The variable schema, etc. all the other things. What are the points I explained? The same thing is available here. I'm just keeping this. Now, OGM. There is another new important feature from Hibernate. OGM, as the name suggests, Object Grid Mapper, is a solution from Hibernate which is going to support NoSQL. Now, a big question will come to everybody is, Hibernate suddenly says, I am supporting NoSQL. I am using Hibernate for 1 year in my organization. I have created a lot of tables like branch, employee, etc. All those kind of things, correct? I have created it. So we will take the same branch actually. So when you go back to the example, the losing example, the branch is a class which has been using so far. So you are telling all of a sudden let's store differently. So Hibernate has to answer me what I can do now. Do you want me to change the code again? Can I change the complete code because I have created a lot of things? I have done a lot of work. Do you want me to change the complete code? Okay. So let's see what OGM is going to answer for that. So OGM says, yes, I can give you a better solution. Let's see what solution OGM is going to give you. Okay. Fine. So this is what the use case is going to be all about now. The use case is something which you have to see now is this. How Hibernate can perform NoSQL operations on the existing database, on the existing models. Okay, is it possible? Because so all of a sudden you are telling the same POJO, the branch which is stored into MySQL now, the branch which is stored in MySQL. Okay, is it possible for you to store the same branch in the MongoDB? Is it possible for you? Because I am not interested in creating new things. New things is understood. New things is fine. We will follow. We understand. But what about the existing set of community? Okay, losing makes sense because losing is telling there is no change in the POJO code. So is it possible to use the same class as what losing did? Can I use the same class and I can persist into the Mongo database? Okay, that's what OGM is going to do. That's where OGM comes up in the picture. It's trying to say, I have a set of architecture. You can use the same Hibernate APIs, etc., all those kind of things. But the only thing what's going to change is that you are going to use something called Hibernate OGM here. So this guy is going to take care of interactions with the NoSQL database with the same way how we are doing with SQL. Okay, so let's execute a demo. Then you can understand, correct? So I am opening my Mongo database. This is my Mongo database. Okay. The same Mongo database, I am going to do whatever is going to happen. Okay, there's a NoSQL database, so I am telling show databases. Okay, so let's create a new database with the same branch table. I'm not going to change anything. Okay, so I'm going back here. So I'm taking the OGM code. There is nothing much I have done. I have the same branch code. See, there is no change at all in the corresponding POJO. The same branch, the same add entity, okay, the same thing. Just in XML file, I'll give a different database name. So, okay, let's give a database name called as test underscore NoSQL underscore Hibernate. Okay, nothing else I have did, correct? I am doing everything the same thing, the same class, the same database, etc. All those kind of things. Only one thing I am telling is the data store provider is Mongo. Nothing else I'm telling. So I am going to execute this. So if this happens, this is what ultimately we are asking, Hibernate. So how Hibernate is going to, let's execute this. Okay, it has done execution. Okay, interesting. So let's go here. So let's say show databases. You can see the test underscore NoSQL Hibernate has been generated. Okay, so let's say use test underscore NoSQL underscore Hibernate. Okay, so show collections in the NoSQL, let's say collections. So there's a branch table has been created. So let's say db.branch.find. It has been created in the same way what we want. It is created in the NoSQL format, right? As I told you, the same thing happened in MySQL has been created here, but the branch ID, branch name, and branch status is coming at the row level. Can you see here? Branch status and the branch name. So this is amazing feature. The same code, the same thing, nothing has been changed. is gone into a database, SQL database, and a NoSQL database. Okay, is it performance to use NoSQL with RDBMS like for ACID? Today, NoSQL also support ACID transactions. Santosh, they started supporting it. The latest version of things started supporting. Fine, Santosh. It's a good question. They started supporting. But what Hibernate did was tremendous, correct? Whatever was available there, taken and shifted to NoSQL. And we did nothing, only we did a Mongo store provide. Okay. So, these are the major two features I thought of discussing in today's webinar session, because I think these are the most critical. I don't want to show a webinar with what Hibernate does, SQL database, etc., all those kind of things. I just want to explore you the new things in the world what Hibernate has brought. Okay, fine. So if you join the course, so the skills required is, yes, you should have some level of SQL skills, and Hibernate tools will explain you what Hibernate tools is all about. Some object-oriented programming skills, okay, and any database you should have worked before, maybe MySQL or Oracle, etc., whatever it is, okay. And the job trends, so if you see always, as usual, Hibernate go now, Hibernate will be in higher percentage of ratio, particularly with the new features, right? The Lucene and so if you want to migrate to NoSQL, yes, you can migrate. So Hibernate is in the position to help you out. So that's what interesting. So we use a very, very latest technology called Hibernate 4.5, okay. And so coming back to Edureka, so this is what happening. So we are planning to launch a bench on 14th February, okay, with Hibernate. So anybody wants to register, you can always go and register by this link. I'm just sending you the link. It's a 20% discount. I think it will be a very interesting course to learn, particularly with Lucene and NoSQL. It's going to be very interesting. You can always join with the 20% of discount is there, and it will be interesting session to learn. It will be quite interesting with Hibernate. Trust me, particularly with NoSQL and Lucene, and with Spring. We have also support for Spring and Maven. Maven also is supported. Spring and Maven, it's all part of the course. And also the project which will be provided at the end will be very, very quite interesting too. Okay. Can use JPA API instead of Hibernate API. We use JPA only, Sudeep. We use JPA only. The entities are all JPS, Sudeep. If you see at the entity, right? The entity is a Java extract persistence. Hibernate latest versions stop directly using only JPS. Okay. Now they made sure everywhere JPA only is followed. With the same NoSQL they executed. Okay. Fine, so yeah. You can check on the link which I have pasted in the chat window, Sumit. Can you able to see the link in the chat window, Sumit? Yeah. Yes, it is a certified course, Taylor. Okay. The course is going to work like this. We'll go through whatever the new things in Hibernate and what is important for the existing market. We don't want to go back and say study SQL. That's not going to make any help for anybody. We are going to bang with Spring, the OGM. There's a separate OGM module, there's a separate NoSQL, etc. And end of the things, we will give you a project. We'll make you to go over the project, do the project. Then once you can do the project, then you can get a certification. Okay. Will you teach? Yes, Sumit, I will be taking it. I will be taking at least the first batch. I will be taking. Whatever we did now, Sumit, the same thing will follow in the course also. Theory, practical, both. Okay, fine. So it will be very interesting. You can just take it. It will be very quite interesting. Okay, I will be taking it, Sumit. Okay, is it going to be the same way online? Yes. Yes, Tina. Yes, duration. Yeah, you can check Sumit about the complete course details. You can check in the link. Okay, you can go and check in the link. I can open the link now itself. Maybe the link is here. I just open the link. Obviously, Kunal. So Edureka is targeted towards that only, right? We will be providing all the guidance. We will provide all the guidance. So this is the link for persistence with Hibernate. You can get all the details about the course, etc. You can provide everything here. Okay. You You can go back, you can check, etc. All those things. Yes, Dheeraj, yes, you can download. Yes, you can get all the details about this. What is the course duration, course details, a sample class recording, and what the certification we are providing. Yeah, yes. Fine, Sumit. Yeah. Yes, Santosh, please. What about the project? So if you look down, you can see down, there will be always say, right? Prerequisite is there will be a project work. There will be always a project work at the end of the course. We will have a project work always at the end of the course. Without project work, we'll never do it this way. So you can see the modules also. Let me open what are the modules is there. See the modules also, right? I think the modules has been provided here. Let me try to get the module details now. I can show you the module details, the complete module details also. Maybe it will be available in this slide itself. Yeah, before that, any questions, everybody? I hope this was pretty interesting session we had. Just I want to explore the new things to you all. I don't want to go back and show the whole SQL things, right? Any questions? Okay, so these are the complete course topics. So as I said, the module 1 is going to be ORM and Hibernate. So you can see there is a separate module on search, there is a separate module on OGM, NoSQL and Spring, and a separate module on project, Maven, and you also go back the Hibernate things also. Okay, fine. And always, as I said, there's live online classes, 24/7 support, and etc. All those kind of things. Okay. You provide any big data related courses? Yes, Jenny, we provide courses for Hadoop, and I am the one of the important members teaching Hadoop. We provide for Hadoop and Mongo, etc. Everything we provide. Thank you, Kunal. Thank you, Kunal. Thank you very much. I provide support for Hadoop. Yeah, we also do Hadoop courses. You can check everything in the website, Jenny. It will be quite interesting websites. Any other questions, anybody, before we can wind up the session? I hope it is a very good session. Hadoop, yeah. So Hadoop is basically, Tinal, what is Hadoop? Hadoop is nothing but it's a big data solution, like what Hibernate gives a solution for the NoSQL databases. Hadoop is going to provide a solution for the big data world. So if you want to do an analysis on 100 TB of data, let's consider I want to do an analysis on 100 TB of data. So what I can do, that's where Hadoop comes up in the picture. It's going to tell you what is the best way of providing a data analysis on a huge data. When I say huge, extremely huge data. I'm talking on the data like 100 TBs or 500 TBs. I'm talking on data like that. So how can I provide a solution for data like that? That's where Hadoop comes up in the picture. Fine. It's completely targeting towards the solution of providing solutions to an extremely huge data. Okay, fine enough. Yeah. You are technical supporters, both of them, Sumit. Both of them will be providing an answer. Because the idea of having a technical support was because if I'm not available at that point of time, somebody should be always there to contact. Correct? Correct, Sumit? Most of the time I'll be answering, and they will be in a position to take up the questions also. Okay? Yeah, they will send the questions back to us, Sumit. They will send the questions back to us. Yeah, Sumit, what's going to happen is that anytime in the class, the first preference is going to be the faculty member. The corresponding faculty member is not there. You can contact the support. They are going to send the questions back to us. Okay. At any point of time, you can mail me, right? You can mail me and you can directly ask me if you're not happy. Anyway, I'll be always in touch, right? Yeah, go ahead, Sumit. Where you will find the link to download this webinar, you will be getting the link in the mail. Okay. Akinav, as I said, you don't need to refresh the skills before, because once you join the course, there itself will be providing all the links of how to refresh, Akinav. We'll be always providing all the links but to refresh, and we will make sure all the prerequisites are met for the course, Akinav. Okay, so that won't be a problem. Yeah, we'll always make sure that's the first fundamental thing we'll do. Anybody join the course, We'll give a set of prerequisites to be forward for a week or 2 weeks of time. We will provide the link. They can start practicing on that. Then only we'll do rest of the things. Okay, so thank you all. Thanks for the great session. Thanks for your time. I hope you had a very great time for the last 1 hour. And thank you all. Thank you very much. Thanks for the patience of listening to the session. And I hope you'll have a great time with Hibernate. Please check out the links, whatever I sent for Hibernate. I hope this course will provide a good knowledge you on what NoSQL and the new things in the world. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.